welcome to Mardyke Minibeasts Volume 1. In this programme we will be exploring some of the interesting and unusual locomotives built by the Essex-based miniature railway supplier Mardyke Railways. Mardyke specialised in sitting, petrol and diesel locomotives designed to pull, and pull they do. Throughout this programme we will see why these so-called little locos prove to be true traction mini-beasts. Prepare to be impressed. Our next port of call is to the Grand Chigwell Railway in Essex, yes, birds of a featherland, where Hymec D7031 can be seen operating around the grounds of the Metropolitan Police Sports Centre. D7031 was built in 1997 and is powered by a 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton petrol engine. The line is run by retired British Transport Police officer Bill Dadswell, who can be regularly seen patrolling the trains. Old habits die hard. D7031 is always kept spotless, a far cry from the days of the original Hymec storming to and from the West Country in the 1960s. The delightful Pullman coaches to the right of the scene are also a Mardyke product, along with all the track. This concludes our short but interesting visit to this complete Mardyke railway located in Essex. We now move on to the historic city of Chester. If you thought there wasn't life in Chester after the demise of our beloved Class 37s, think again. You may not be heading up the North Wales coast, but up to the Grosvenor Park, in the heart of the city, where Mardyke Hymec D7031 can be seen working trains on the Grosvenor Park miniature railway. D7031 originally operated on the Brookside Railway in Poynton near Stockport, before heading west to Chester to operate trains here. By the way, this is not the D7031 we saw operating down at the cop shop in Chigwell, but a doppelganger. 2 Hymecs left the Mardyke works with the same running numbers. How spooky is that? The line also features this delightful wooden trestled viaduct, which adds plenty of interest. That's if you're a cameraman. Now it's haulage time behind D7031 around the line. Immediately after leaving the station, we cross over the wooden trestle viaducts built over low ground. We are now heading up the infamous Bonkers Bank. It doesn't take a genius to work out why it gets this name. As we head along the final straight, we get a pleasant view of the local sunbathers as the Hymek powers towards the final corner. We won't tell you what they call this one, but if you visit the line, I'm sure they'll tell you. The Totty line, as the staff nickname it for obvious reasons, is well worth a visit on a hot sunny Sunday afternoon, as the Hymek is not the only hot stuff running in the park. Our next port of call is to the Mardyke Mecca of Swanley, where over 12 Mardyke locos have operated over the years. In the first of two interludes, we will see why the Swanley Newbarn Railway is an ideal line to see the Mardykes in action. Prepare for sheer entertainment. The first loco to arrive at Swanley was Deltic D9015 Tullyar in 1986. Seen here sharing duties with 262 tank Old Rosie. Carrying the ornate flying pineapple, wing thistle of the Flying Scotsman, a clean green mean machine powers away from Lakeside. Mind your head, there's a Deltic coming. Tullyar is probably the most popular Mardyke loco ever built. Sorry, does that sound biased? As this shot shows, Tullyar is an awesome beast when aroused. Prepare for G-force. Class 35 Hymek D7069 was the second loco to arrive from Mardykes in 1989. The Hymek has spent the past 5 years disguised as preserved Big Brother D7076. In this view, the Transrail Imposter partners home-built Class 25 out of Lakeside. Haulage time now, as we take the motley pair over the Newbarn banks. D7076 or D7069, depending on if you're a traditionalist, has a habit of entertaining people with its steam loco impersonation, as a driver of the 25 can fully appreciate, as a duo attack the infamous New Barn Bank. Having reached the summit and managed to smoke out the population of Kent, the locos then eased down into Lakeside Station. At the gala of April 2001, a visit from a second Mardyke Hymec was arranged. D7041 Mardyke Condor is usually based on the Lennon Miniature Railway in Kent. The loco wears the unusual livery of maroon, and how fine it looks too, as the loco runs round its train at Lakeside Station. Don't forget, the other two main BR diesel hydraulics, the Westerns and the Warships, both carried the maroon livery early in their lives. Perhaps D7041 is finally doing the long gone Hymex justice. The 1984 loco is owned by Rod Tolhurst, who was seen at the controls a moment ago. The chance to pair the two Hymex wasn't missed, as a duo make an interesting sight leaving Lakeside. And just to prove that D7076 can work on its own, here's a shot for the doubters. The loco well suits Transrail Grey, and perhaps if they hadn't survived, well, let's let sleeping dogs lie. The loco is set to return to the more modest two-tone green with original numbers in the near future. You may recognise a man with the big camera. It's Alex Hurd from PM Video, and this is what he shot of the Hymec. The line's resident Class 47 is appropriately 47845 County of Kent, seen in action here in the summer of 2000. (47.845) also participates in this unusual quadruple header. 40 horsepower of Mardyke Magic powers away from Lakeside. Perhaps the most interesting locomotive on the line is a brush prototype Kestrel. This is the only place in the world where you can see what Kestrel was really like in action, as the full-size one was cut up after being exported to Russia in the early 70s. The bird of prey leaves Lakeside. Here we get the lowdown on Kestrel, excuse a pun. Kestrel was built in the early 1990s, but did not leave Mardyke until 1999, when members of the Swanley New Barn Railway discovered Kestrel hidden behind the back of the works. With no time spared, she was heading back to Swanley to spread her wings. Talking about not sparing any time, here she approaches New Barn Halt with a Swanley New Barn service train. After entering service at Easter 2000, Kestrel has run many trouble-free miles, being popular with both loco crews and the general public. She is seen here arriving at Lakeside. Another interesting feature about the Swanley New Barn Railway is a turntable at the main terminus station, Lakeside, as Kestrel can be seen having a spin. Kestrel makes a swift getaway from Lakeside, as this whirlwind shot shows. And she's still going, helped by the wind. This is just another shot that demonstrates the sheer power and thrash of these 10 horsepower Minibeasts. Kestrel heads back to Lakeside, East Lancs Railway style. To give the bashers or grisers among you, depending on how old you are, an idea of what it's like to have Kestrel for haulage, we take a ride over the line on a heavy passenger train on the first section of the railway from Lakeside to New Barn. The gradient of Lakeside Bank can clearly be seen as Kestrel works its 10 coach load, the 1 in 60, from Lakeside. This curve marks the highest point of the railway, where it then descends all the way down the famous New Barn Bank to New Barn Halt. But before we reach New Barn Halt, we slow down for a permanent way restriction, where work is being undertaken at present to improve the line. Later in the programme we will see the traction Minibeasts tackle the New Barn Bank in the opposite direction. We are now slowing for the small halt which serves the car park for the main park. We will see more Swanley action later in the programme. Now it's off to Lincolnshire. This is a magnificent Belton house near Grantham, home of the Belton Light Railway. The first Mardyke locomotive to work here was a petrol Class 47, but this was replaced soon after by a Class 55 Deltic, which is seen here, which had more power to cope with the line's severe gradients and leaf fall, as it is powered by both bogies. The Deltic retired from Belton House in 1998 and later went back to Mardyke Works and then onto the Swanley New Barn Railway, where it is having a complete rebuild and overhaul at present. In this view, members of the Swanley New Barn Railway and Des de Schmet, the builder, inspect the loco prior to it being put on a trailer and taken to its present home in Kent. The loco will emerge as 55019 Royal Highland Fusilier and ready for another 25 years service on the Swanley New Barn Railway. We hope to see her in action on a future volume. The locomotive that replaced the old Deltic is this Class 35 Hymec, built in 1998. It is seen in action here on a cold autumn's day in the year 2000. In Little Trains of Lincolnshire Volume 2 by PM Video, we also visit this railway, which at the time was operated by a Class 52 Western built by J. Johnson of Runcorn. Little has changed since 1995 when that footage was taken, only the tunnel has been made larger, but you still get the rustic charm of this beautiful little railway. Belton is a very well established line, although not very well known among enthusiasts, and deserves every success in the future with the use of its locomotives. We now move on to the Moors Valley Railway in Dorset, where we see a visiting Deltic from the Swanley New Barn Railway in action. In September 1996 it was decided that Deltic D9015 Tullyar would visit the Moors Valley Railway for the weekend, hence here it is. D9015 is usually based on the Swanley Newbarn Railway, but for most of the Saturday at the Moors Valley she was based in the ballast. As the steam locomotives are very heavy and to a narrow gauge outline at the moors, they tended to re-gauge the track, much to Tullyar's annoyance. Anyway, some sterling work from Peter Jackson and Chris Johnson saved the day, and by Sunday morning they had totally re-gauged the track back to 7 1/4 gauge. Waiting for Tullyar to come past, we see two of the large narrow gauge steam locos passing in service. And this is more like it. Here Tullyar tests out the tunnel. Tullyar then proceeded to work service trains all day and showed the steam engines and their crews a thing or two. She is seen here departing Kingsmere on one of them service trains. The Moors Valley Railway in Dorset is definitely a line with character, charm, length and gradients to tax the hardiest of mountain goats, but unfortunately no diesels, or certainly not any to write home about, so these scenes of D9015 storming the steam-dominated line are definitely very rare. Enjoy. And yes, even the Deltic bashers enjoyed this trip. Movements here at the Moors Valley Railway are controlled by two signal boxes, that at Kingsmere having the lever frame installed from the Belton Gasworks signal box in East London. Although basically a circuit, passengers normally travel over the line in two journeys, detraining at Kingsmere, whilst a train draws into the head shunts and then back into a departure road. Sadly, it is now time to depart this delightful little line in Dorset, which is normally devoid of any Mardyke locomotives, but it's now time to head up to Merseyside to see the Croxteth Miniature Railway. line's main form of motive power is this Intercity 125 power car, built in 1983. The other loco to work on the line is this Deltic called Mardyke Minibeasts, which doesn't see regular use. A sad reminder of the days when the 125 took over the Deltics on the East Coast Main Line. The power car carries the name Mardyke Osprey and is seen here doing some test runs before the day's service trains. After the successful test runs, the merry Merseysiders are allowed a trip on the first train. We are now going to enjoy a ride with the merry Merseysiders on the train, which is a short run in a small reserve of the park. Part of the journey involves travelling through the loco shed, which also doubles up as a tunnel where the locos live. The line at Croxteth is well worth a visit to savour the rustic charm and friendliness of this short but very interesting little railway dominated by East Coast legends. And now for a rare treat, a visit to the works where so many of the locomotives we have seen today started off life. The gentleman in these scenes is Dejde Schmet. He was responsible for building all the locomotives we have seen in this programme, including this Deltic seen here in the shed. And now for some earlier footage of the works when it was fully operational. Seen here is the SNCF electric loco, which has since moved to the Swanley New Barn Railway. This is Dave Holroyd, the well-known miniature railway personality, seen taking the SNCF loco for a test round the garden. The loco can be seen on the Swanley New Barn Railway in Volume 2. This interesting lineup, caught on camera by Simon Townsend, shows a number of the locomotives under construction at the time of filming, including the Class 91, Hymet, Kestrel and TGV. Kestrel of course has moved on to have an active life at the Swanley New Barn Railway. The Class 91 is still in the works. Back on the Swanley New Barn Railway now to see Kestrel in her active life. Seen here giving the Class 25 a helping hand away from Lakeside. And at the same location, piloting the Deltic. And now for some superpower haulage behind the Deltic and Kestrel. Just imagine this pair in full size. No, you don't want to. During the year 2000, this GG1 was loaned to the Swanley New Barn Railway from Mardyke Railways. It is seen here heading back to Swanley from the works. After a very quick wash and brush up and then many hours of mechanical work, the GG1 was ready to haul trains at Swanley. The 20-wheeled monster is seen arriving back at Lakeside. The loco now is back inside the Mardyke works. And now to see what the Mardykes do best, and that's pull. Any further commentary is totally superfluous. Belton Wall. Pure nostalgia now, for those who remember it. Kestrel on an 18-coach crew test train, seen here on the Swanley Railway before assaulting Shap. And now it's off to the zoo, Colchester Zoo, where 2 Mardyke locos once operated. This footage is taken around 1988. The loco operating here on the day of filming was 47601 Goliath, built by Mardykes in 1987. The railway has long since gone, and the whereabouts of the stock and the locomotives is not known. From evidence here on this film, the railway looks to have been a busy place, especially when the sun was out. The second Mardyke locomotive to have worked on this railway is Hymek D7026 Samson, which was believed to have been built in 1985. It is seen here having a rest along with a 7-lamb American outline diesel loco. We conclude our nostalgic visit to the Colchester Zoo Railway with a short ride on the train. The two locos on the line were built to a larger loading gauge at the request of Colchester Zoo. It is sad that the line and the Mardyke heavyweights have since disappeared.
I've got the old man on it. Go forward a bit, Pete.
The Great Cockerel Railway in Surrey is normally associated with its large fleet of scale steam locomotives. The railway also has a Mardyke Deltic, albeit in poor condition as it was a works loco on the line, not a role for an East Coast thoroughbred, so members of the Swanley Newbound Railway thought. So a rescue was arranged and the decrepit loco was duly moved to Swanley for a visit to the workshops. We will catch up with this Mardyke A4 in Volume 2. But in the shed, Chertsey's Deltic receives a repaint. Next to it is the GG1 chassis under mechanical repair. Double-headed green Deltics, a sight that you'd like to see again and again. The second loco is Chertsey's Deltic, which is now called Pinzer. Doesn't she look splendid? I do hope you've enjoyed Mardyke Minibeasts Part 1. It's shots like this that reinforce the opinion that these locos are true traction mini beasts. Watch out for Part 2.